it's about a Japanese person traveling, like doing domestic terrorism. I mean, tourism.
Wait, whoa, what?
Whoops, spoiler.
Yeah, whoops. Oh, yeah. It is just a cute girl slice of life show about domestic terrorism. Of all the members of Trash Taste, which one do you think is the most likely to have like an Oedipus complex?
Joey?
I'm still going with Connor, honestly. He does have like Norman Bates kind of vibes to him, you know? Because he's white, of course.
I'm going with Joey because he's the only one I've heard talk about his mom on a regular basis.
Really? He brings up his mom a lot? I've never heard this before.
Not a lot. But like, I don't think I've ever heard any of the other ones talk about their mom, and I've heard Joey bring her up like multiple times.
Okay, and it's like in a very positive manner.
Well, he's usually bringing her up like, "Oh, she's the one that maybe learned Japanese or whatever, right?" So she's been brought up multiple times.
Like, in any of like the hentai episodes, do they ever talk about like mother-son incest?
No, they're too vanilla for that.
Too vanilla, or maybe like. Joey's specifically trying to avoid it so he doesn't like out himself. You know? He's like they start talking about it and he's just like visibly like salivating. He's like struggling like yeah, I mean,
keeps shifting and sitting up in his chair.
It's some. I mean, mother and son. That's crazy. Honestly,
yeah.
I like how I'm going to start the official podcast episode with us talking about this. Honestly,
oh my
that
God.
way, anyone listening knows what kind of anime podcast this is.
Just put the immediate filter in there.
It's the immediate filter. It's like, oh, okay, this is an anime podcast for like. Fucking asshole.
This is the technolize of anime podcasts, right? If you get through the first episode,
you just do. The technolize of anime podcasts would just be starting with like 5 minutes of complete like radio silence, just like occasional noises, maybe. You know, us
clearing the throat or like
just like shuffling around and like not talking or saying anything. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be ready to record in like just like 5 minutes. Anyway, in case you were wondering, in case you're a new listener and you made it through that and you're wondering what kind of anime podcast this is the WEEB CREW Anime Podcast.
The one and only.
Psiotic, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mumi.
I am the one and only.
Maybe, Mumi, I guess...
there are a lot of Mumis
4chan
online.
is dead now. This is true, but 4chan is dead now. How does that make you feel?
Well, that means I guess there are less Mumis around.
Yeah, you're the last Mumi standing.
Yeah.
Do you think you're just going to keep, like, if this podcast ever does get to the point where it's like you just have, like, a complete monopoly on that moniker now, it's like you're just implicitly associated with that character?
That would be kind of funny.
You kind of already are a little bit.
I don't know if anybody would recognize me.
No one knows what Mumi is, like, listening to this. You like, it's like, it's mommy from, it's mommy from Madoka, but like munted. I don't know how else to describe it.
Well, it's from like a doujinshi where like she drew me like a chibi style in like the end parts or whatever.
Yeah.
Basically like 4 coma
and
shit.
then that just became like a compromised evil character that then you adopted and grafted onto yourself, and now it's
so like no, it's like a
weird
amalgamation because the Mumi thing came from the Madoka thing.
Yeah,
where they like did the fucking like in between frames and quality or whatever. And they're like Madoka Y, Mumi Y,
Mumi Y,
and then somehow I guess like they made some weird lore to the Mumi character, made her representative of like the little chibi thing. She built a dam. Sayaka then like what is they call her Salaka, I think. It's like it might be still Sayaka.
Like Aladdin,
but
does Sayaka become Muslim or something?
Well, they spell it with 2 Y's. Or sorry, 2 L's.
Okay.
To make the Spanish Y.
Okay. Oh God, I see. I understand.
Yeah, and then she like blows up the dam. I don't know. There's a whole lore to all this. Like you can literally just type in like 4chan Mumi or something, and like it's on I think the Modica Wikipedia thing, not Wikipedia, but like the fandom thing.
And now that's literally you. I remember you changed your profile picture on the Discord once, and everyone got mad at you.
Yeah, it was.
Everyone was like,
okay,
fucking change it back.
I changed
right
it.
Now.
I changed it like a long time ago, and people were really like uncomfortable about it. And then like I think it was for Halloween one year. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make I found like a little chibi version of like Mommy from Creamy Mommy, and I was like, this will be funny. And it's like I'm cosplaying Mommy as Mumi for Halloween or something. And everyone was very upset.
I was like, why are you doing this? No, Mumi, our branding is like, you can't be doing this.
I think this is before the WEEB Crew even. Like,
it may
that's
have
how
been.
long ago it's been since I have not like been associated with Mumi.
And you will always be associated with it, because otherwise I'm gonna act like I don't know you, honestly, if you try to pull that shit again. You are Mumi, always in for like meanwhile I like have like different names at every server I join. No one knows what to call me. People listen to podcasts call me Psyotic just because that's what you call me, but I would have gone by another name, honestly. And it's like,
well, too bad.
I can get away with that. But you are Mumi. You are only Mumi, and that is it.
Everyone everywhere knows me as Mumi, except for in real life, which no one ever calls me
real
that.
Life. I guess. Well, no, because you went by like what, like Mighty Mole or something.
That's Mole.
Mole.
That was my Mal name, Mighty Mole.
Yeah, something.
I
like
just
that.
like the alliteration.
No one
of it.
like knows you from that era, do they?
No, well, like, no one called me that anyway. My gamer tag on Xbox had Mole in it, and that's kind of where like
no one wants
that
to dead
came
name
from.
you. Yeah. Anyway, what are we talking about today? Oh yeah, but it's like there's like 5,000 anime we're watching this season. We should probably talk about some of them.
Yeah, we don't got enough time.
Seasonal anime podcast, not a classic anime podcast. This is a seasonal anime podcast. We actually have never seen any anime before the year 2020. Believe it or not.
Not even Madoka Magica?
No. I think I've seen one anime before the year 2020, and it was ReZero.
Ah.
Yeah, and that's it. You know, it's like the people who like yeah, I like classic anime, and literally all they've seen is like Dragon Ball and Akira.
Dragon Ball and Akira.
It's such a funny telling fact when you like go to someone's My Anime list and those are like the oldest anime they've seen.
Ghost in the Shell.
It immediately jumps to the 2010s, and you're like, God damn it.
Or Ghost in the Shell.
Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah. So let's talk about. We're watching like 20 some shows. It's honestly a problem. There are too many good anime this season. Really.
That was not the intent. Like going into this season,
that was not the intent. No,
it did not look that great. It did not look that stacked, I should say. Like you always want to give stuff a shot, so I'm always open for stuff to be good. But like going
there
into
were things
it,
I was like anticipating, being pretty good.
The ZatsuTabi.
I was looking forward to Mono, obviously G-Quux.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like you look at it, you're like, oh, this should be pretty good. But there's been a lot of stuff this season that like basically were like the flyover states of anime, where you just look at it on a chart and like it just kind of the poster looks so generic, your eyes just gloss over when you look at it.
Just don't register it for a second.
Yeah, like fucking Witch's Death is probably a good example.
Oh yeah. Once Upon a Witch's Death. I mean, even something like what was it? The Shaft and Ninja Assassin show, or
Ninja Shinobi or whatever, Assassin.
We just got done watching episode 3 of what is it? Sword of the Demon Hunter, Kijin Gentosho, and that was like something we watched the first episode of. The first episode was like 50 minutes long, and we watched it and we're like, all right, yeah, that was pretty edgy. That got pretty like, Linkin Park towards the end.
I feel like I was the only person that was just like genuinely just like, yeah, we should watch episode 2 in case it stays good. I think everyone else just kind of wrote it off.
I was at least on board because I was like, okay.
I think you were on board, but I think you were like, you're in a direction of like, if it stays edgy, but like the production is good and it's entertaining, it might be okay. I was like, yes, it might still be good. I don't know. We don't know where it's going. Like, it's gonna be a whole new show.
Boy, did we not, is the thing. Yeah, because it's ended up going the complete opposite direction, seemingly. Instead, it's like these episodes 2 and 3 have been very surprising in how like measured and dialed back and just kind of generally relaxed it is. Like, it's still like a dude like fighting demons and stuff, but it's not like I must contain the demon within me. And
not the Chuny show. It's a Chuny show, but not a Chuny show.
Yeah, well, I think you describe it as like Samurai Witcher, basically.
Yeah, it does have like the Witcher vibe where he comes into the town, he's looking around, and he's like, there's a demon afoot. I'll kill this demon and solve this mystery.
Even though we say coming to town, I don't think he's really left Tokyo yet. He's just kind of been bumbling around Tokyo over the past few years.
It's been like a long time. He might have completely left and come back, and we don't know.
Yeah, it's been really, because like, yeah, the basic premise of the show is like, this guy basically gets these demon powers, and shenanigans happen in the first episode, to not spoil a whole lot, but he basically gets these demon powers, which renders him immortal, and he's just been going around kind of like hunting demons, but in kind of almost like a detective kind of way, where he's just like trying to figure out where the demons are and then like how to defeat them.
The first episode is like Freerin, and I don't mean that like you fight the demons. I mean that like Oshinoko. Like, the first episode is like this big hour-long event.
Yeah.
And like
very long setup.
It's almost like the reverse of Oshinoko, where I feel like the first episode everyone really liked, and then like when it got into the stuff after the first episode, people were kind of a little bit more lukewarm on it.
Yeah, I was like,
this one, like, I feel like a lot of people just dropped it after the first episode, which is understandable.
I mean, I feel like it's weird, because I feel like the people who are dropping it after the first episode are the people who would like the second episode. And people continuing after the first episode are probably put off by how just like non-angsty it is, like Tokyo Ghoul it is in episode 2.
I mean, it's pretty highly rated, so I don't know how put off they are.
Maybe, yeah.
On Mal, it's still higher than Shoshiman's second season.
It's definitely been a surprise of the season so far, like, to say the least. Because I did not expect this to go in the direction that it was going, to say the least. It's
much more mediated, kind of,
and surprisingly, it looks like mature in its approach. Whereas, like, you watch that first, like, I was laughing by the end of the first episode with how like just like edgy and violent it got, and then it hasn't really done that so far. And I guess that might bore some people, but I really like the writing is actually pretty strong, honestly, and it's doing a lot. It's the same studio as Whisper Me a Love Song, which, I mean, that show was let's say it had a less than stellar production.
Listen, all right, they gave up with 2 episodes left. We're like, we're just gonna put all of our resources into this show, and hopefully this will save us.
Honestly, and it's not been the greatest thing this season. It's been I mean, fairly middle of the pack visually, but
it's consistent.
Middle of the pack visually this season is still pretty damn good, honestly. Like, it's obviously not like the most like over the top animation wise, but in terms of like direction, storyboarding, way things are lit, things like that, pretty strong, honestly, pretty consistent tone wise.
I've been surprised how much I've enjoyed it so far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, something I've been surprised that you have enjoyed so far. I mean, this came as not really much of a surprise to me, and you are now like through gritted teeth enjoying it. To Be Hero X.
Yeah.
You're like you also like you hate that you like. I think I distinctly remember we watched the first episode of To Be Hero X, and you were like, I hate that I liked this as much as I did.
Well, it's got 2 things going against it, which is the same 2 things that fucking Hero Inside had going against it. I don't like superhero shit to begin with.
Right.
And I don't like CGI. And this has both.
No. Yes.
But this is
it's also
like
Chinese.
It's also Chinese. So that's a third thing going. Mumi famously hates China.
Of course. Mumi is a staunch pro-capitalist.
I'm just gonna refer to myself in the third person as Mumi from now on. This will somehow disassociate me from the character of Mumi. Yeah, I fucking I did not expect. I mean, we saw the previews for it from like 2-3 years ago, whatever it was.
It's been I've been aware of this for a good long while because I watched like the original To Be Hero TV show short thing.
I watched the first episode when it aired of To Be Hero.
I really liked that original series on. It was like it has a very like dumb potty mouth like sense of humor to it.
That's kind of why I dropped it. I just wasn't.
No, but I like that. It's like it has like that sort of like cynical angle to it, but at the same time, at the core, it is like a kind of touching story about a father learning to connect with his daughter. It's very sweet by the end, honestly. And To Be Hero X, it has that same sort of like cynical sense of humor to it in terms of like, I mean, like I guess mild spoilers. It opens up with like the main hero just fucking jumping off a building. Like on steroids. He like snap. He does like the point snap thing.
Does a finger guns.
Just falls. Just falls, and like the way he falls, he like hits his legs all the way to the bottom and does like a little flip. It's so like tasteless and vulgar. And yeah, it's just like, okay, I understand what this show is going for. We're doing like dry, dark comedy.
The production of this is fucking insane, though. Like
it is.
The amount of different styles it goes through. It's kind of hard to deny how good it is visually.
Yeah, because like the main show is like this. It kind of looks like Arcane with like it's like CG look, but then we'll like for the action scenes, it'll like turn into like this comic book style. For like flashback scenes, it will take a different style. It's very varied so far, and I'm wondering. I feel like they're going to be able to keep it up because it is 2 core. So, I mean, if it can, that's like, I mean, fuck, that makes it honestly, I'd say one of the best looking anime of the year, probably, maybe even of the decade. Just to be completely honest, because it does look fucking phenomenal, honestly.
It is, and probably the best looking anime this season, honestly. Like, I like some visually more as like it's in line with my sensibilities way.
There's a bit of apples and oranges at work, but I think just in terms of like pure visual spectacle, I mean, this is the show of the season, honestly, because I feel like if the visuals weren't as strong, I don't know if there would be as much of a draw to watch it. Right. But because it has that component to it, it's now like, well, every episode is like, well, fuck, I got to see what they're going to do next, honestly.
Yeah, it seems like they're going to do like a vignette thing with the heroes from the OP and the shit that like I've kind of heard.
Yeah, because they put out like a lot of like promotional trailer material stuff that I don't think will actually be in the show. I think it's all like supplemental material that will then like, it'll be incorporated in the show in some way, but those are meant to almost be like standalone things or things you can watch and then have that working knowledge going into it, which is already very interesting because those PVs, those promotional videos already look really goddamn good, honestly.
Yeah, I think we watched the one where the guy was like flipping the coin or snapping or something.
Yeah. Well, that's like the main big one. Yeah, the guy is like fighting some goons and he's like snapping, constantly changing the art style basically by snapping, and like jumping around on walls and stuff. Really interesting looking stuff. And I mean, again, coming as someone who is already familiar with like the first 2 entries of the franchise, seeing that was like, what the fuck? How is this still To Be Hero? And the answer is, I think the director just very plainly stated, this is To Be Hero X because To Be Hero is a recognizable brand name, and it's hard enough getting an original project off the ground these days.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
fittingly cynical.
Enough. Fittingly cynical, because the show does have that kind of, well, it's almost like The Boys in that kind of way, where it has that kind of like superheroes are like corporate mascots type of thing going on, or I mean, it's almost like analogous to wrestling as well, because like all the fights are fake and stuff.
Oh yeah, but it's like to the extreme, because like they're like moving around,
they're fake around, but they're still very real, you know, like they're supposed to be scripted, but I mean, the two villains we've seen so far have both just gone off script.
Yeah, you got like a weird back and forth going on in that regard.
Yeah.
Like some of the people like are going off script because they want to better themselves or like take down somebody else, and
yeah,
it'll be interesting. I wish the writing were somewhat better. Like the wholesome moments for me kind of feel a bit like
yeah, a little bit too gushy for you or whatever.
Yeah, but not even like a like
you don't like the scene when they're like throwing food at one another.
Yeah,
It's
it's not even like a fucking stop, you fucking losers, or like it's not like it's just like this is kind of cringe. Like I don't know.
I think that like that sort of like almost over the topness kind of like lends itself to like the overall tone of the show so far. It like it all feels kind of superficial because it kind of is.
I feel like To Be Hero, not so. It just feels like the other one, fuck, the comic book one. I just said it earlier.
My Hero Academia?
No.
Oh no, Hero Inside.
Hero Inside. It just feels like that.
Kinda. I mean, Hero Inside is like a show made for like children.
It does feel like that sometimes.
Kinda. I don't know. I feel like this is more like
obviously like they kill and like
teenager.
we were talking about like the guy kills himself and stuff like that. So like that, but like the tone of it feel like when he's like, oh, I'm just gonna make a swing. It's like okay, whatever.
I don't know. I think that lends into like, oh man, my nose is fucking really stuffy. God damn it!
All that coke you've been doing lately.
All that coke, all that cum I've been snorting off hard throbbing cocks. Yeah, honestly, I think it will be the surprise of the season for a lot of people because it's already been picking up quite a bit in popularity, and I think that's only going to continue to grow as the show like goes on. And obviously, China already has Ne Zha 2 this year, basically being like, I mean, it's the biggest animated film of all time now. It's like the 5th or 4th highest grossing movie of all time. So if China can manage to pull off both like a massive theatrical animation and like a massive TV animation in the same year, that's going to be fucking insane, honestly.
It's kind of fucked up that like when you watch on Crunchyroll, your subscription goes up by like 145%.
Oh yeah, because of the tariffs. I don't quite understand how that works, but like, yeah, I got like a notification on my phone. My credit card was like, is this a charge? This is suspicious activity. I'm like, yep. This is exactly as planned. I understand. That's what it takes to be a fan of Chinese animation 2025.
Just text back to your bank. Give my regards.
I really hope that like anime figures and stuff don't become more expensive because they are still made in China. So it's like, well, fuck. Why are we putting tariffs on that? Is the US trying to compete with China in the anime figure manufacturing market? Why?
I think it's like they're just trying to snuff them out.
But what I'm trying to say is the Trump administration is very anti-otaku, okay?
Very anti-anime figure.
We talk about surprises. You want to talk about disappointments?
Well, what are you thinking? Like Lazarus?
Yes. Yes, unfortunately. It's so bland. Bland.
I don't know if I'd say it's a disappointment because like I haven't really expected much out of Watanabe since basically Shampoo. I mean, I like Space Dandy, but he's kind of got the same effect going on as like Ikahara, where like each thing he puts out, like I can have fun with it. Like I really liked Yurikuma Arashi. I had fun with it when it was airing, deciphering all the references to like The Shining, fucking French Liberation. What the fuck?
Sorry, come.
Jesus. The French Liberation art pieces, stuff like that. But the show like did very little for me. Like you compare that to Utena or even Penguin Drum, there was not nearly as much for me to like attach myself to. Same kind of goes for
it almost
Watanabe.
it almost feels like getting like pigeonholed in a way where it's like, well, you are the Cowboy Bebop guy, you are the Utena guy. Do that again. That is what you will do now. And it's like, okay.
I mean, I don't want them to do it again. It's just more like there was like for in Ikahara's case,
no,
there
but
was
I'm
like
saying,
a rawness.
I think that's how like they're allowed to get stuff made. Basically, it's like I am the guy that does this, or like it's like John Carpenter in the '90s basically just got typecast as like the Halloween director. So he was only directing horror movies, even though he has a very varied catalog of movies prior to that.
I think that definitely applies to Watanabe. Ikahara, I feel like would have more free reign. I think he's doing what he wants to do.
Especially because Ikahara is also working with like William Street and Adult Swim, and there was that thing that came out where like Watanabe initially suggested doing like something like silly like a Space Dandy type of thing, and they were like, nah, we want something more serious like Cowboy Bebop. And now we get, Cowboy Bebop light, basically.
Cowboy Bebop 2, Cowfolk Bebop.
Like it's very obviously like evoking Cowboy. Like just look at like the poster for it. That's like, okay, it's just, we watched the opening in the second episode. And it's like, yep. We got it. Yeah, this is, if you like Cowboy Bebop, you should really watch this show. And it's like, none of this is like what made Cowboy Bebop good, though. Like,
no,
the main character of the show, is like this like cool guy. He's like really good at like fighting and parkour and stuff. He's a cool guy, and we get that right off the bat without really doing much to like. It's like when we meet Spike in Cowboy Bebop, he's basically established as kind of like a loser underdog type of character. He looks kind of dorky. He has this like ill-fitting suit on. He lives in squalor with just this fucking old cyborg guy on this falling apart ship.
Talk about how to eat food.
And at the end of the episode, when he does actually do action stuff, he's like wearing this like stupid fucking like sombrero and poncho, and you don't expect him to like be really good at fighting, so it comes across as like kind of surprising and like, oh shit, this guy's kind of a badass actually. Here we don't get anything of that. He's just shown to be very competent right off the bat. He immediately escapes prison because that's what he's good at, I guess. And he just doesn't have anything like for me to like root for him for, because it's just like, oh, he's just good. He's good at stuff, but he has no like charming aspects beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, plot wise, I would say the Peels aesthetically is closer to Bebop. Plot wise, it's closer to Terror of Resonance or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, even aesthetically, it's kind of close to Terror and Resonance because it's very like Cowboy Bebop is still fairly vibrant and like colorful. Still, this is bland and like browns and grays and just.
I think with Bebop, I think the sci-fi stuff is doing a lot of heavy lifting that people don't really appreciate, because like the Bebop is pretty.
I mean,
cool.
This has like sci-fi elements to it.
Yeah, like all the space stuff, the gate exploding and all that. Like there's all this interesting
all the
stuff
different like
on.
Environments they go to. It's like like that kind of like Western vibe to it.
Where this is filling that with quote unquote intrigue. Them trying to find this guy, talking about like this medicine, and you're just like, okay.
It's just Suicide Squad, though.
What are we, some kind of Avengers?
It's literally just Suicide Squad. Like
they should have just made a Suicide Squad reference, honestly.
And again, I've talked about Akudama Drive now multiple times. It's Akudama Drive is just a better version of this. It's really like. I'm just watching. I'm just thinking like I'd rather watch Akudama Drive. It's way cooler. I like the characters. Like, who are the characters in the show so far? We have the main character,
parkour guy.
Yep. Who else?
Blonde girl with the gun.
Yeah. We have a
blonde guy that's like kind of a femboy.
We have the off-Broadway Hamilton cast member.
Yeah, the enforcer guy. And you got the old lady that has assembled them.
Yes, whose only notable characteristic, honestly, is that she's voiced by Megami Hayashibara. What am I supposed to get out of this? Why do I care? Also, it's weird that like the world is going to be ended by a Jewish doctor who like created this drug that everyone thought was going to be really great, but turns out to be poison. That's a choice, right? That's weird. Why? What?
Shaki Kanaka.
I don't.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here? I don't know. That's a weird creative decision to say. Yeah, it's just. I mean, it will appeal to the like very casual people who are like Adult Swim's core demographic when it comes to like their American, like their cartoon stuff is way more like out there and like I think it's something like Smiling Friends. This is like so basic and like toothless in terms of like what anime is capable of, and it's like, why are we doing this? What about this is like?
I'm pretty much in agreement. I'm enjoying it okay so far though. It's
not unwatchable, but it's just like
kind of like a missed opportunity in some ways. It's kind of disappointing, I guess.
Hopefully, I mean, there's the other thing where, you know, we watched Ninja Kamui, we watched Uzumaki, and both of those ended up just like falling apart fairly quickly. Like Ninja Kamui had a fairly strong start and then it just stopped. Uzumaki is Uzumaki. I mean, I hope that the same doesn't happen to this, but
people didn't like the ending of Terror in Resonance. I'm okay on Terror in Resonance. I think it was like fine. I feel like Lazarus
but it's like, I don't know. Terror in Resonance, it just feels so like dumb and juvenile. It's like, how do we have the detective guy that is a genius, but no one really believes or trusts or whatever? How do we convey that he's smart?
Chess.
With chess.
That's
like,
oh, okay. Every time.
This was written by a 15-year-old. This is like hack screenplay stuff.
The same with Code Geass.
It's so, yeah, I don't know. Again, Terror in Resonance also just, it lacked any like flavor, lacked any spice to it. And it's like Shinichiro Watanabe's whole thing.
They are visually good. I wouldn't say they're visually like
I feel like the complaints people had about Chainsaw Man are how I feel about like Terror in Resonance and Lazarus, honestly.
Can you even say it? Because like you're not even like I feel like the manga, like people that are like say about Chainsaw Man are like, oh, it doesn't look like the manga cover, and like there's not even like there's nothing to compare it to. It's just like this is a thing. But no, I get what you're saying, but it's just like,
oh man, I do love things that kind of look like fucking Hollywood movies. That's why I watch anime.
Speaking of Hollywood movies,
what are we going to next?
I don't know, My Hero Academia Vigilantes or whatever.
I mean, that's not really a Hollywood. I guess it kind of is.
It's just cape shit.
Not really. It's just cape shit. It's good cape shit though. It's really funny watching the show because it's like, man, this is a much better production than like the main series.
Oh,
it's really kind of like, what the fuck? Like, okay, first season of like My Hero Academia, the main series, pretty good visually, honestly. I like how it looks. After that, they started doing like the 2-core stuff, and it's like they were doing like 2-core like every 5 seasons, not once a year, but like every like 5 seasons, kind of staggered like that. And you can tell that was not enough time to do that because my God, the series is very inconsistent visually. Sometimes
does
it
look like the Ice Fire Kid versus Deku all the time?
No, I mean, whenever like, you know, Yutapon like shows in, he'll like pop in for like a cut randomly. And then it looks really good. But just like regular scenes of like characters talking or just like things that aren't super like, you know, meant to be mind blowing, they don't need to look great, but they need to look decent. And the character drawings, everything about like the My Hero Academia TV show is just not really that strong. Whereas this is like pretty good, even if it's not necessarily like a cut of a character doing a whole lot. The way that they're composited, the way that they're drawn, they have very dynamic line work. Very well drawn overall. It looks so much better just on a shot by shot basis, honestly.
Even just like compare, because like I've only seen season 1 of My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
But like comparing that to this, I immediately just was like uninterested in the plot of My Hero Academia. It's like I don't give a shit about any of this. And like the second episode the second episode's literally just like a training arc where he like immediately
Yeah, and
starts
it's
like
here, you can.
pulling
I'm the
trash on the
strongest
beach.
hero. You can have my powers, and it's like, but do something interesting with no quirk. He's like a hero. Deku's like a hero otaku. Do something with that. That never comes up again.
Whereas like this is starting off, and it's kind of starting off strong. I mean, it's not like amazing or anything, but it's at least kind of exploring the characters in an interesting way, and the premise a bit more interestingly.
That's the thing, is like I still like My Hero Academia. My biggest problem with it is that it feels like it left a lot on the table. There was a lot of like just unused potential there that honestly just felt actively ignored, if I'm going to be completely honest. Whereas this, it doesn't necessarily, like, Vigilantes don't necessarily have like the most mind-blowing concept out there, but it feels like it's sticking to it and is handling it in a way that makes sense rather than just like ignoring it.
My whole thing with like Deku is like they should have just had him be like a Batman character, and that would have been a more interesting kind of underdog story to me. This is kind of doing that, where they're kind of just really shitty heroes. The main guy's power is just being able to slide if all 4 of his limbs are touching the ground at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's like the prospect of him training to then be able to use that power in some utilitarian way and kind of overcome some limitations is already kind of inherently interesting to me, where I'm like, oh, this is what the show should have been, instead of just immediately being like, okay, I'm going to give you the Superman powers, but you will only be able to use in small moderation for a while. It's like, okay, I don't.
Your friend, I mean, did you ever get to the part? No, you don't. You never got to the part where like he starts getting like multiple powers from like Avatar style from previous incarnations.
No. Yeah, I never got to the all for one shit. Or one for all, whoever the fuck.
And then his friend has explosion powers. And then his other friend has ice and fire powers. And here it's like the powers are the guy can slide around, the girl can jump, and the other guy is just the fucking Punisher, just punches. If he had a gun, he would probably just be blowing people apart, honestly. Thank God for Japan having strong gun control laws. Otherwise, there would be like blood in the streets constantly.
Yeah, the girl is interesting because she can only jump and land. She can't land.
No.
Like that came out in the second episode where she's falling. Like, oh, she can only land safely if she jumps first.
Yeah. But again, it's an interesting idea. And again, the fact that it's like conveyed visually in a very strong way. Like they do like these comic book embellishments with like they incorporate the actual like sound effects text into the show itself, which looks really cool. Yeah, it just gives it a lot more like pop and like flair to it that I feel like My Hero Academia just generally doesn't have.
Yeah,
at least in the anime. I mean, I can't talk down the manga visually. The manga Horikoshi is kind of the goat, like when it comes to drawing.
Got a lot more pop. It's a step up. It's a pop step.
Yeah, pop step up. Yeah, I don't know. It won't be one of my favorites of the seasons, but it is something that it is like, yeah, I like watching this, and I don't feel like I'm watching it and I'm being abused.
Well, this is basically what I wanted when I not necessarily in like the plot prospect, but just in the concept of it. When I watched the first season of My Hero Academia,
stick to it.
It's kind of like the same experience as when I watched the first season of Demon Slayer. I was like, I just want a good, visually interesting shonen to watch.
Yeah,
that's like high action or whatever. And like season 1 was the best, quote unquote, in that regard for My Hero Academia. This is already putting it to shame. It doesn't have the Sakuga clips yet.
It is much better visually.
Yeah, that season 1 of My Hero Academia was just like underwhelming for the most part. And then you had like the Sakuga clips, obviously.
Yeah,
but moment to moment was not all that interesting. I was like, okay,
which can be fine, to be fair, because like if you have like really strong like character stuff, like let's say Deku and One for All, they have like almost kind of like father-son relationship. Deku and Uraraka have this kind of romance thing going. He has this rivalry with Bakugo. None of this matters. None of this goes anywhere. None of this is really fleshed out. It just is like things that were initially set up and then never actualized.
I'll be interested to see where this goes. If it just kind of stays to this like core cast, much better than the original My Hero did, where we're not just pulling all these new characters all the fucking time. Like
they just introducing them and just constantly explaining what their quirks are.
Yeah, they just introduced like a Spectre Gadget character, so I'm anticipating him to be kind of like an recurring antagonist in a way.
And because it is a prequel, we do see other characters like from My Hero, like Eraserhead shows up. Stuff like that's fine.
Yeah,
actually, it's interesting now that I'm thinking about it. There is no like narrator in the show, and the narrator was like a big part of My Hero Academia.
Good riddance, obviously.
Good riddance, honestly. Yeah, honestly, I am happy with the show.
I'm enjoying it. Okay.
If you've ever seen me talk on Discord about My Hero Academia, it's almost like my Sword Art Online on. Like, you know, people like when they start complaining, when they start talking about Sword Art Online, they'll just start like venting and unloading all like the problems they have with it. That's kind of how I feel about My Hero Academia, because I do like it. I just want to like it more, and it feels like it's punishing me for wanting more.
I feel like My Hero Academia to you is what Naruto was for me at one point. I didn't like Naruto when I was reading it after, like, I don't know, age 14 or whatever. But like it was just like the sunk cost thing. But yeah, that was like the one I would just sit there and complain about. I'm like, why am I fucking still reading this shit?
Like, what's the point? What's the point anymore? It's like an abusive relationship. Like that was basically just me. Like by the end of the My Hero Academia manga, just like, I just want this to be done. Is it over yet? Oh, thank God.
Did you get any kind of schadenfreude at the end of My Hero Academia?
Of course.
People getting upset, and you're like, yes.
I mean, it wasn't on the level of the Hall of Anal Devastation, but you do have like, because like they drop the romance between Deku and Uraraka almost entirely. It's like barely ever comes up that they have like a crush on one another. Outside of a handful of scenes, nothing of that ever goes anywhere. And instead, what they do is like they have this almost like Yuri relationship between Uraraka and Toga, the blood drinking transforming girl. Like they have this thing going on, but that ends up just being kind of like doomed Yuri, and then she just gets with Deku at the end anyway. And a lot of people are like, why? Maybe have Deku get with Bakugo. Fuck it. Why do we gotta have this fucking head ass ending?
I thought he didn't get with anybody. I thought he started working at McDonald's.
No, well, he loses like his power, but I think he still do like here. I don't know. You don't really need to have powers in My Hero Academia anyway. You can just be really strong, or I mean, spoiler alerts. All might get like a fucking mech suit at one. Who cares? Nothing matters.
Nothing matters in the world of My Hero Academia.
Nothing matters. Speaking of good shonen, let's talk about Yaiba.
Kimetsu no Yaiba?
No, this is going to be very confusing because we have the Demon Slayer show this season, which is not Kimetsu no Yaiba. And then we also have Yaiba, which is, I guess, kind of related to Demon Slayer slaying now, but not Demon Slayer.
No.
Mumi, you like Yaiba. You take the wheel for a bit.
It's a unhinged Coke binge.
It really is.
I feel like the best way to describe this is someone was going through their old manga collection from like the 90s. I was like, oh, look, this manga I read when I was a kid. I remember this. They opened it and like a pack of cocaine fell out. Like, oh, yeah. They like snorted that shit. They're like, what if we just remade this, but like 3 times as fast? And
it's the anime equivalent of like you have a volume of manga and you just flip through it and that's the episode, basically.
It is very
like, boom,
fast.
boom, like,
I feel like it works to its benefit, though, because it's so high energy. You're just like,
it's very
what is going on?
It matches the fucking gremlin energy of the main character because he's like just a fucking like obnoxious asshole kid.
Yeah, y'all fucking hate this kid.
Fucking he's such an unlikable cunt. Honestly, like if I had to deal with this kid in real life, I'd just fucking like kick him in the face, and I could do that because, as we all know, adults are just stronger than children inherently. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're an adult, if you're over the age of 20, you can beat up any child. Try it.
This will change when you get older, because the older you get, the more further away and like disconnected you are from children. You just become like, he's got spunk. What a lively kid.
Yeah, there are like 2 Studio Wit shows this season, and this one is like they're both very good. This visually. One is just, I mean, everyone has made the comparison to like Kaneda style animation, because that's what it is. It's just constant Kaneda animation, basically.
We're so back.
Just constant, silly, wacky goodness.
I will say,
yeah,
there's a thing that happens at the end of episode 2. I won't get into it for spoilers.
I won't spoil it. Yeah, I mean, it's a fucking manga from the 90s. This is just a remake.
If that didn't happen, I would be more on board with this kid just being kind of an asshole. If they kind of leaned more into it with like his kind of being more like a Frank Grimes thing where he's just like torturing this other guy for no fucking reason. It's like, okay.
Yeah, Dennis the Menace style.
But like, because what happens or whatever.
Just goes off the deep end. And
just goes off. Okay. He just crashes out immediately over the smallest inconvenience.
And it's like, okay. Everyone in this show is insane. I understand now.
This is great. I love it.
Which, I mean, it's similar to like To Be Hero. I don't think this would be anywhere near as like strong if the visuals were not as kinetic as they are.
No, yeah,
because it is just constantly go. Like, it's honestly over. Like, I watched the opening and I'm like, Jesus fucking, like, nothing. Like, if anything, I don't really like the opening because it feels like nothing has any staying power, because the instant anything that like looks cool is on screen, it's immediately taken off screen. It's like, what the fuck is happening?
Everything.
It's a barrage on the senses.
It's great. I love it.
It is. I mean, yeah, if that's your, like, it's funny too, because like I'm like however many 200 some episodes into Detective Conan now. And that is like the opposite, basically, because Detective Conan is like, you get one canon episode maybe every 50, something like that.
Is the manga still
going very slow? What? I think so. I mean, the anime certainly is. Let me see, actually. Hold on.
I feel like the manga might be over. Oh, it's still...
Oh, yeah, still going?
Yeah, it's still going.
That shit will never end. So it's very funny to like just compare it to that, both between like Conan as a main character and Yaiba as a main character, because they're complete polar opposites. We should watch the OVA where it's like a crossover between Conan, Kaito Kid, and Yaiba, because that it's everything you would imagine it to be, honestly. Just putting those three in a room together.
Yeah, it basically writes itself, I feel like.
Honestly, yeah.
You just see those three characters like, oh, I immediately know what's going to happen with this.
Speaking of remakes that are really fast.
Anne of Green Gables?
Anne of the Green Gables. A show that doesn't need to be fast.
Doesn't need to. I feel like it's been working for me, at least.
Yeah, it's not a bad. It's kind of it's a weird thing, because it's like, it's not a bad show. It's not a Kage no An. It's like, it's kind of like an unavoidable comparison. In a one that will never be favorable to any anime that has to stand up to that, because Kage no An is one of the greatest anime ever made.
There's also the problem of there's like a million Anne adaptations.
That's also true.
So you're not only comparing it to like one of the greatest anime ever made, and it is an anime, so that's like the most direct comparison, but you're also comparing it to like the 1980s miniseries, the Netflix and with an E, like anything that you can think of that's Anne media related is being compared to this, and it's like, I don't know. I've read the book, at least the first one.
Yeah.
I not watched any other adaptations. Honestly, when I was younger, I just conflated Anne with Pippi Longstockings, because they both had
That's kind of fair.
Yeah, they both got the fucking
and
red
Pippi
braids.
Longstocking and Wendy.
Yeah,
those are all the same character.
They're all the same. But this adaptation, I was kind of on the fence about it for the first episode, because like the strengths of what it's kind of doing are not going to be apparent with the first episode.
No, you're still going to be thinking about like what the 79 anime was doing and why that adaptation worked so well. Your mind's going to be kind of preoccupied with that. You're not necessarily going to really have a good grasp of what this is going for as a new adaptation.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of put piece together like, oh, it's probably doing this, but like until you actually see what it's doing with that, you don't really know. Like, you don't know how you feel about it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I mean, what it's doing is pretty good, honestly.
Yeah,
it's not my favorite show this season, but it is like more towards like that upper end, because even though it's not on the level of Akage no An, it still has really strong emotional beats. It still looks really good, and they're handling characters in different ways that the 79 show did not, and that kind of adds like a new sort of like layer to it, both to like when I'm watching it, I'm thinking like, it was really good how, like, you know, Takahata's anime did this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also actually really interesting that this is doing it like things differently.
Yeah, I would not really want them to try to do that again.
There'd be no point, really.
Yeah, the fact that like this is supposed to be covering the first 3 volume like novels.
Yeah.
I think is a good thing.
Green Gables and I think the next one's Avalonia. I forget what the fucking like sequels were titled.
I think it's gonna have shortcomings, specifically in direct comparison to the original. If you are familiar with the story, you could probably guess where the shortcomings are gonna be before they happen.
If it's 24 episodes and it's covering 3 books, much like Gurren Lagann, things are gonna happen around episodes 7 and 8, and it's gonna be I mean, it's not going to hit as hard. It'll probably still there are still good emotional beats though in the show, I'd say.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily hit as strong because they are working through the material much faster, but it's still like, no, that's still like affecting. And if you're someone who hasn't seen the 79 anime, I mean, don't feel discouraged at all to watch this, honestly. It's really good.
Yeah, no. This is not a recommendation to stay away by any means.
No. If anything, if you were kind of like curious, maybe you've heard about Akage no An, but you know, the fact that it's like so long, and kind of old maybe puts you off. I feel like this is probably a safer introduction for a lot of like newer anime fans, honestly.
Maybe.
It's like, hey, if you liked this, then you can go back and watch this other one and see what it did differently.
Again, they're like different appeals, so I don't know if it's like you could watch I feel like that's like saying you should go start Gundam with the origin and then go watch the 1979 version. Like, they're similar-ish enough, but they're different appeals.
Yeah.
Like, they are meant to act as entry points.
Like the faster pacing and stuff it is a much more modern adaptation, because you think back to like 1979 shows from that era were just generally slower overall, especially if you had to like take like Anne of the Green Gables, which is not a very big book, and like stretch that out over the course of a year, 50 episodes. It's gonna just naturally be slower, whereas this is not necessarily, it wouldn't make sense to approach it in that way because there's no reason to. This is approaching it as if you were doing a modern adaptation of Akage no An, Anne of the Green Gables, and it does it in a way that a modern anime would.
That is a strength of this adaptation, is it like some of the things you can compare to, like the dialogue and stuff. I feel like the dialogue in this feels much more natural, at least to like my ear, as someone watching this in 2024, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the
1979.
Fuck, it is nice.
Fucking forgetting what year it is. Oh my god.
What year is 1979, right?
So yeah, it is. We also have New Gundam and Rose of Versailles.
No, like the dialogue. Watching the dialogue in the original felt much more like formal and constrained, which felt kind of unnatural to me now, like in a modern sense, right? I don't know if that's not necessarily like a good or a bad thing. It's just like a compare, like a strength of like, oh, I like this about this. I like that about that. Like it's things that differentiate the two. Like, yeah, she's still kind of verbose, and we'll start talking like, oh, Mariella, blah, blah, blah. And it's still very much in line with her character, but it doesn't feel, it comes off as like, specifically I'm thinking of like when she's talking about being a bosom friend with Diana, and they're sitting there talking to each other. Like that feels like
that phrase, bosom friend.
The bosom friend. Like that feels like a much more like organic like exchange to me than her talking to Diana in the original. Not that the original sounded like bad. It just didn't sound like a more naturally flowing organic conversation that you would have like now, like on a podcast or something, right?
Yeah. So you're saying we need an Anne and Diana podcast?
Yeah, they can talk about being.
If they were friends, if we need a modern version of Anne of the Green Gables, yeah, where they just have a podcast.
And Anne would fucking 100% have like a true crime podcast or some shit.
Oh yeah. Well, that's an interesting thing about this new adaptation too, because obviously 1979 anime, very like limited in terms of like what it's doing animation wise, especially when it comes to like character animation.
Right.
This is a lot more like varied and eccentric with its character animation, and it gives a different vibe to the characters. Like Anne in the original, Anne in the 79 anime did not really have like, she had like a very active imagination, but she did not necessarily come across as like hyperactive like she does in this.
Yeah.
Marilla in the 79 anime comes across as like very, very like stern and like, you know, just almost like this like immovable object basically. Like she's very like kind of like stuck in her ways. Whereas in this, it almost like peels back the veil a little bit more, and you kind of get this idea that like, no, yeah, Marilla, you know, does have a little bit more fun. She does like laugh at stuff, and she's not necessarily as absolutely capable when it comes to raising a child. Like you see stuff in this new anime where Anne will like have like an emotional outburst, and Marilla doesn't necessarily like, she reacts in a way where like she's like caught off guard. She doesn't quite know how to deal with that. Whereas like that wasn't something I really got as much in the 79 anime. And
she felt more put together,
thing,
where she like,
but it
was also like, it played into like her stubbornness, where she almost like set in her ways, where she's like, this is the only way I know how to like potentially raise a child. So this is how I'm going to act. This is how it's going to be done. I'm just going to stick to it. And they would often come into conflict about it. But like in the original, she just kind of felt like more, like you said, more immovable, like more steadfast, more like confident in what she was doing. At least she had that appearance. Yeah. This one is not really giving that veneer.
Stern, yeah. And it's not a bad approach. It's a different approach that feels very much enabled by the fact that this is a modern adaptation, and you are more able, you know, to do different things with the characters when it comes to like animation, and that can then inform how those characters are written and just come across in general. And it's different. It makes me think about the 79 anime in ways I haven't before, but not necessarily in like a way where it's like, oh, that one was so good compared to this one. This one, you know, it's making me look at both and be like, yeah, no, there are strengths to both of these here, honestly.
Yeah, you kind of get more of an appreciation for both.
Yeah,
like this one,
they complement each other very well, I'd say.
Yeah, it's just different ways of like approaching similar characterization, because this one's having to abridge it more, but they're able to like be more expressive. Like you're talking about, like when she meets Matthew and like she has like the fisheye lens or whatever.
Fucking yeah.
They're like that. And that's kind of like a thing you can kind of criticize, like go back and forth on. Like I appreciate this more than this, because like. I appreciated in the original, like how she would come off. It just came off in the original, like she just didn't like sitting in silence, because there's a lot of silence. There's a lot of downtime
on that long ride back to the house.
Yeah, Matthew is not a talkative person. There's not a lot to look at on a horse-drawn carriage. You don't have an MP3 player. She just like gets like listless and restless, and she's just like, "Oh, you want to talk about this?" And she just like trying to fill the dead air. Whereas
and you get more of a vibe that like Matthew is kind of like uncomfortable around her, because Matthew is just uncomfortable around women, whereas you don't necessarily get as much of that in this.
No, I don't think that's even much of a point, honestly.
No, I don't think they meant Matthew. He's like this in the 79 anime, but in this he does come across as like more doting on Anne.
I don't think they establish in this that he's afraid of women.
No, that'll probably come up later, I'll say, because it is like an unavoidable aspect of the story, really.
Right.
Like when he has to like go and like buy her that dress and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. You might be enjoying it more than me. I kind of have it more in the middle-ish. I haven't
Maybe
really
a little bit.
It's hard for me at this point in the season to really like rank things. I mean, I do just to kind of get a gauge and start trying to feel it out, but I don't put much stock into it. I'd say it's kind of in the middle-ish.
Middle-ish?
Yeah, maybe in the top 10. I haven't really like sit there and counted or anything. It might be around top 10.
Not really. But... I've just been kind of like, yeah, there's stuff that's very clearly at the top for me, and it's like a very rough gradient going down from there. I'm kind of like, yeah, I could put this above this or this below this, just because it's an ordered list. But as it stands right now, there is a lot of like stuff that could be rearranged, to say the least.
Speaking of like things that feel old, an old classic. The Rock is a Lady's Modesty.
Oh, okay. That's where you were going.
Did you like that swerve?
Right.
Did you like that? You thought I was going Gundam, didn't you?
I'm that or Kowloon, but yeah, we can talk about Rock is a Lady's Modesty. The show is fucking insane.
Shows the same. It feels kind of like those old like Onisama Maria was there, like those kind of like blue blood,
and like a Rose of Versailles kind of thing.
Yeah, like they're in a school,
like prim and proper,
having a
high society.
Yeah, high society. But then they just are in a band and playing like thrash metal or whatever the fuck.
Math rock. Which is interesting, yeah, because it's very much about that sort of like core kind of like contrast basically between the cranked up to 11 aggression of the music and having to put on this sort of prim and proper face for everyone else at school.
Yeah. I mean, the core conflict with the main character of this one is that she is attempting to fit into high society by being somebody she's not.
Yeah.
And she is she's introduced as they introduce a foil to her, which is someone that fits into high society much more naturally, but is attempting to become something more. And so they have this like overlap where like the thing that she is not is what she's trying to be what the other girl is, and then the other girl is trying to encroach more into the world that she was originally in, that she is kind of thrown away kind of thing. So it's an interesting kind of foil to each other in that regard.
So it's a Sayaka and Kyoko kind of thing, like from Madoka.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and I guess that works.
Yeah, well, it's something we haven't we just watched, we just had Girls Band Cry last year. I forget what season that was. That was like a show where it's like, okay, we've had Bocchi the Rock. We've had the socially anxious girl doing the music. Now we have Girls Band Cry, and it's like everyone in Girls Band Cry, everyone in the band is like constantly like at each other's throats and angry and rude to one another. This then feels like it's building on that almost, where now it's just like, oh yeah, we're just going completely over. They're just fucking yelling at each other and like having BDSM Yuri fantasies with one another, which again is also like an aspect that feels like remnant of those old sorts of like shoujo manga tropes.
Well, I mean, the whole like Vines thing and stuff like that, that's literally just the opening of Rose of Versailles. Like she's like encased in the vines. And that was like a whole thing in the first episode where they're like having that band off or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
And unlike a lot of other music band anime, this one is about the character. No, I like the music in this one a lot more, honestly. At least what the music that's been played so far. Like, I'm not really a big J-rock guy. You know, I don't even the stuff I like Girls Band Cry and Bocchi the Rock. I don't really care that much for the music that they play in the show. I vibe much more with, even though they've only played like one song so far, basically. Just them playing that song, and it's just those two playing it.
They got Bandmaid in there.
Yeah, but I mean, no, Bandmaid's like the opening.
Opening? I think they did like an insert song. That might just be like the opening or ending again, though.
Yeah. But I do like that kind of like more math rock feel of just like the two. I think they are gonna add like more band members as it goes on.
Yeah.
But so maybe my opinion on the music will change over the course of the show. But as it stands, right, like that first episode when they were doing that music, I was like fully locked in because it's a long music sequence too, and I'm like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah. It's basically like they watched the ED of fucking Asobi Asabase, and we're like, let's just make this a whole show.
And yeah, I'm really interested in seeing where it goes, how it handles its setting, how it handles like these character conflicts, what it does with the music. Visually, it's been very strong so far as well. I mean, you know, the music is still, you know, done CG style, but
yeah,
I'm gonna be honest,
it's not.
I don't care.
I do. It's not terrible, but it is like, of the CGI they've put in anime here recently, like with like Medalist stuff like that, this has kind of been one of the more noticeable CG that they've had, and I'm just like,
yeah. I mean, it's a question of like, do you even try to hide it at this point, or is CG just becoming like a part of anime's visual language that is just like, yeah, no, you just do that in CG, duh.
Yeah, I feel like it's becoming much more accepted, popular.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, yeah, it's just something that you do. Which, I mean, to be fair, also like doing 2D animation, like music animation like that, is also just ridiculously hard.
Yeah, it would be much more limited as far as like movement and
yeah, and for this kind of music, you do have to kind of like match that aggression with the animation, otherwise it's just not going to work.
I mean, I guess they could have done the visual style of like the ED for Asobi Asabase.
I haven't seen Asobi Asabase.
Just look up the ED. It's just like,
okay,
it's them doing like this like hardcore screamo shit, and like the visuals is just very scratchy. Is the best. Like, you will see it, you'll be like, oh yeah, that is very scratchy.
I mean, that'll be something interesting. It's like something I talk about, like Bocchi the Rock, where it's like, I wish the music performances in that show got a lot more out there, like the comedic bits in the show. And I mean, that's just something I kind of like to see in music anime in general, and I hope that this does something like that. I don't have any inclination that it will. It's not exactly like a visually out there show a ton.
I mean, they did the
but it would be cool
thing.
To see nonetheless.
There might be a little bit of element of that.
Yeah. If it is, I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing where they're going with it. Speaking of Bocchi the Rock.
What about it?
Talk about Bocchi the cook. Food for the soul.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's basically just Bocchi 2 with it's cooking.
Well, yeah, she joins the cooking club, but not really.
I mean, it starts off with her just watching YouTube. She's just watching like some cooking short shit.
Yeah, what is it like no cook omu rice or something? And I was like, I just couldn't do that. Wait, is that like a thing? You know, I thought you just crack the eggs into the rice and stir it up, and there you go, ready to eat. Now I'm hungry. Fuck.
I mean, it's probably like,
fuck.
I don't know, it's probably warmed. It looked like it had steam, like it was already like warm. It was saying like you don't have to cook them together. I guess like the heat of the rice is just gonna warm up the egg enough to where it like synergizes together or whatever.
Kills any salmonella in it.
Well, no, they don't have salmonella egg in Japan because their eggs are. You can't sell eggs from Japan in America and vice versa because we pasteurize our eggs, whereas they vaccinate their hens.
I don't know what that means.
So since they vaccinate their hens, they do not have salmonella in the eggs because they're just vaccinated for it. So you can eat the egg raw. This is what they often do in anime. Whereas here, you cannot because the eggs are pasteurized. And you have to cook them for them to not, you be able to eat them raw or whatever because they're not.
Dude, have I not been eating like safe eggs with my right? Fuck.
No, you have to look. It's like pasteurized, which they can't. You can't sell.
Hold on. I'm getting my eggs. Hey.
I don't know if it would say on the because it's illegal to sell non-pasteurized eggs in the U.S.
I guess they just are then.
I mean, you can fact check me on this.
Why would I do that? Why would I be concerned about spreading misinformation about eggs on an anime podcast?
Yeah, you know. But yeah, food for the soul.
Yeah.
we've only watched one episode so far because that's
I
all
don't have
that's
a lot
out.
to say about it because we only have one episode to go off of, and I thought it was cute and fine.
Cute and fine. I have high hopes for it. I like the characterization. The character dynamics are not. They're not as cut and copy paste as like a lot of these kind of shows. Like even like Bocchi,
Yeah.
like they kind of fall into like the trope of like their character archetypes a bit more. This kind of feels like they're there. Like it's got like those archetypes kind of like present, but they feel kind of more nuanced in a way where they kind of they don't feel like the trope personified.
Yeah. Oh,
or
this is
whatever.
the same director as Non Non Biori.
There you go.
There you go.
But this
That's a mark of quality.
I thought Alan Biori's director was at Silverlink. Is he a freelance or did he just moved to PA Works?
I guess no. It says he's affiliated with PA Works. I don't. Maybe he. I guess he just moved.
Moved? Well, shit.
Yeah, I don't know. When was the last like non? Because we got Non Non Biori recently. That was still done at Silverlink. So I don't know.
2020-ish.
Yeah.
In this decade, I think.
But I don't really want to talk about the food show because one, I've only seen one episode. I don't have a ton to say. Also, it's making me hungry.
I feel like that's gonna be the problem every week. Is gonna make me hungry.
It's gonna, yeah. It's like, all right, I'm gonna make. You might as well just eat while watching it. Honestly,
We'll make it. What day do we watch that? Is it over the weekend? We can make that like a food day. Everyone's gonna get some good food to watch. Food for the soul.
get some good food. I'll figure it out. Yeah, because like we're watching so many seasonals right now that I had to make a schedule for the first time so we can keep track of when we're watching stuff and all that, so we can make sure we're actually watching everything. We don't fall behind. And yeah, we'll set that up as the get a snack. Get a snack.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. There are a number of really good slice of life anime this season so far.
Yeah, we got like Mono, ZatsuTabi, the fucking cat.
Uchimumu.
We don't really have enough information on Apocalypse Hotel yet. We've only seen the first episode so far.
Yeah.
But
only one of those is a slice of life according to Mal.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's fucking meaningless as usual. Which one is which one is the slice of life?
Yes.
ZatsuTabi.
Yes.
And Mono is not because
of comedy.
Oh, of course. Slice of life are not comedy anime, and Food for the Soul is not because
Cooking.
Sure. There's never been a slice of life anime about cooking before.
No. Well, if it's not just doing nothing, they literally cannot do anything. If they do anything else, it's no longer slice of life.
I don't understand, but explain to me why you really, really wanted to watch ZatsuTabi.
It's just because it looks like Kino. Like you cross your eyes, like if you're kind of like drunk or something, and you look at it, it's like it kind of looks like Kino's journey.
That looks like Kino enough to me.
It's ZatsuTabi. I mean, Tabi's in the name, journey. And you're like,
it is about going on at least based on the first episode. She does go somewhere.
I mean,
go on a little adventure. I don't.
Before my association with Metro Girls was cemented, I was very much into slice of life shows.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen so many slice of life. So I do like slice of life like this.
But have you really? Or are we just going by my anime list's definition?
What do you mean?
Like, have you really seen that many slice of life shows, or have you only seen what
according
my
to-
anime list defines as slice of life?
No, according to my anime list, I've seen like 50 slice of life shows because K-on's not a slice of life. Fucking like every slice of life you can think of is not a slice of life.
Sounds like you're not that big of a fan of slice. Sounds like you like shows that aren't very slice of life. Sounds like you like shows that have activities in them.
I fucking love activities.
Even though traveling is a fucking activity.
But yeah, I've been really enjoying it so far.
So far it's one episode, but it's a nice show.
It's a nice show. It kind of reminds me
content tourism.
Well, because it's about a Japanese person traveling, like doing domestic terrorism. I mean, tourism.
Wait, whoa, what?
Whoops, spoiler.
Yeah, whoops. Oh, yeah. It is just a cute girl slice of life show about domestic terrorism.
Because it's a slice of life about a girl doing domestic tourism, it kind of reminds me of like when I was traveling around Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Because
like as you were, as a Japanese schoolgirl.
Well, no, because like a lot of when you think of like tourism in Japan, it's a lot of like going to Tokyo and stuff. Because like Tokyo is the main draw, and most people are only going like once.
Tokyo and Kyoto.
Kyoto. You might like take a bullet train to Kyoto. You might and stay like a couple of days.
Yeah.
But most people are not really like if you're traveling from another country, you're not really traveling outside of Tokyo much.
Go down to like the sticks and like the small towns and stuff.
Yeah. Whereas because like I was meeting up with somebody who lived there, we kind of did stuff off that. And then plus I was there for like 12 weeks in total. So we had a lot more time to do different things than just Tokyo. Granted, you will do a lot of Tokyo because there's a lot to do in Tokyo.
There's a lot to do, and it's a big city from what I've never been there, but from what I understand, it's a rather large like town.
It's a big town, yeah.
Yeah, a big town.
You cannot throw a rock to the other side of town. Fun fact.
Really? Wow.
It's that big.
I don't know if I've been to it. Like, how is that possible? I've never been to a town that big before.
Well, how far can you throw a rock?
I'm not very far, to be honest.
See? I can't throw the rock into town here.
Oh.
But no, it's because it's like her traveling as like a Japanese person. Like it's kind of going to these different parts and out of the way of Tokyo where it's like kind of more reminiscent of like the things that stood out to me the most about traveling through Japan. Yeah. Like the thing I like, granted, shopping, doing like the shrines and museums and stuff like that. All that's like
blowing all your fucking money in Akiba.
Yeah, all that stuff is great. I love. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not like saying like that was the worst
Having
part.
Having sex with a prostitute in Roppongi and just
going to Soapland, getting robbed.
Gotta love it. Man, do I love Japanese sex too?
God damn it!
I just want to say that on record real quick.
I mean, it's fine if it's sex tourism in Japan. You go to some other countries in that area that will not be named directly. It gets a little questionable.
Like a certain other anime content creator. Will not go named for legal reasons.
None of these places, none of these people will be named. But it kind of is reminiscent of like, because going off the beaten path and like kind of doing these things that you don't really see talked about or isn't kind of the norm is kind of what stood out to me a lot more like sentimentally, I guess, where it's like, these are the things that made my trip more unique to like other people. Right.
Yeah.
So just like, it reminds me of like going like these moments of like getting lost on a trail or something and then like stumbling across some shit and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. Let's just stop and look at this for a minute. And you just kind of walk around and wander like, oh shit, this is.
Oh yeah. I mean that stuff's great. Like like if I ever do go to Japan, like I feel like that's like what I would want to do the most is just kind of go around like the countryside and be like, what the fuck is this? And then, get lost, fall down like a ravine, and I'm going to become like an unsolved missing persons case that I'll have like a Wendigoon video made about me someday. That's the goal.
And then they'll find you, and you've been living on a bus with a bunch of high school kids. Turned into a rape bus.
The plan is, not doing that. Not doing a Grisaya. The plan is, all right, I'm going to live in the Japanese wilderness. All right, I'm going to live in the woods. I'm going to live by myself. I'm going to just basically morph into like the Unabomber visually. I'm never going to learn Japanese, and eventually, there will be like random sightings of me, and I'll go down in like the local folklore of a small town in Japan.
You think you're like a kappa or like a
real life Oni or something.
Yeah.
That's the plan. Honestly, that's what I want to do.
Have you seen that guy that had like his car broke down and he was like stuck in the woods and he just lived there for 20 years? It was like he just decided he was going to live there but he was by a town. So he would like go into town and like steal shit to survive out in the fucking woods.
Oh,
for
I think
20
I have
years?
heard of this. Yeah, this isn't the guy that like died in an abandoned bus in Alaska. No, I think I have heard of this.
No, that's a different guy, I think.
Yeah.
No, this guy just lived for 20 years. He got arrested because like he stole.
Was
But I
this
think-
in Japan?
No, this is in America.
Okay.
Yeah, but that could just be you. You can just
It could just be me.
20 years later.
Honestly.
It's like, gee,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
happened to the Weeb crew?
Whatever happened to- No, I'll still keep the podcast going. You know, I'll just
okay.
I'll take like my microphone and my like audio interface and stuff to the local library.
We'll be able to slowly hear you like delve into madness, essentially.
It's like the spirits were walking with me today as I was out in the fog and the shadow people were hiding behind
Just start yelling at things that aren't
the
there.
tree. What are you saying? And,
All right, we haven't got to that point yet. You don't need to. But
reading
yeah,
this light novel and at the
ZatsuTabi.
manga cafe, like
It reminds me of
the ramen was.
Oh my
the lady at the
God.
ramen stall was rude.
it reminds me.
Stop it! What?
It reminds me of my favorite traveling memories in that regard. It almost like makes me think that this is legitimately just like travel propaganda, like because
Very much is.
well, like I think the domestic tourist market has like been decreasing every year because, in large part, because the international tourism has been going up. So, like-
We're going to Tokyo anyway.
Well, because like the yen is like because of inflation and the yen's weaker, there's an element of like people just not wanting to travel for that, and then you throw in there's a lot more like international tourism now, so like a lot of people are just deciding they just want to fuck with foreigners and deal with all that, and plus the foreigners are now
Mhm.
bringing their currencies in, which is kind of only making things worse because it's devaluing the yen more essentially, where people are like, we gotta keep our prices high for these foreigners so we can make our money back, but then like everyone that's here kind of gets fucked because their fucking stuff is much more expensive. So domestic tourism has been like kind of going down. I feel like this is kind of like propaganda in the same way like Spy Family is like, go have sex. It's like, go travel, you fucking
Go out into the woods and live like go see the shrine no one's visited for hundreds of years and
oh my god.
pray to the ancient gods there.
It is funny, the shrine trip. You have to do the shrine trips, but they're like every shrine is the fucking same in Japan, really.
That's why you gotta go out in the woods and find an abandoned shrine on a mountaintop. That's the only it's got the name of the shrine carved. Into
Will you
a
stop
rock,
talking like that if we start talking about a different show?
And no, I mean I like to do that on GeoGuessr, honestly. Like I will literally, well, not GeoGuessr, Google Maps, basically. Just go on Google Maps and go through like the Japanese countryside and just try and find random shrines and locations on mountain. You find some really cool stuff that's been like kind of maintained. Some of it's dilapidated. Some of it's just like super old. Like that's the stuff that like I feel like is like more interesting than just going to the big cool shrine. I mean, of course, you got to visit Yasukuni Shrine. That's like a mandatory visit. I love Japanese war crimes, honestly.
Yeah.
Big fan. Big fan of Unit 7. We here at the Weeb Crew are Unit 731 enthusiasts, all right? Do you want to know how Unit 731 figured out how much water is in the human body? It's really unpleasant, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, it's a nice it's a look at stuff that you otherwise probably wouldn't be thinking about when it comes to like Japanese tourism, because I mean you have I don't know what they're gonna do for the premise though, because the basis of the first episode is literally like I'm a manga artist, but I have like, you know, writer's block. I need to go out and go on an adventure to get my creative mojo back. Is that just gonna keep happening to her? Is that what the plot of the show is going to be?
I don't know how relevant her being a mangaka really is. That's what Hayden was kind of like. I showed Hayden that segment in like Jeff's video.
Yeah.
And I showed him the segment I did in our video.
Yeah.
And they were like, you didn't really mention the manga thing. I was like, yeah, because the show doesn't mention it really. It mentions it for the
Doesn't
first
really
like 3
matter that
minutes
much,
and
honestly.
then never again.
Never again. Then she goes and travels to the tower out in the woods, and she climbs the tower
Oh my
and
god.
stares off into the sky like a falcon or an eagle.
Well, speaking of traveling slice of life, does Mono count? Is that a traveling slice of life?
No, I guess not really. It's more so just going around and taking pictures.
They went on location. I guess that counts as traveling.
True. They're not really like they're not really taking the train anywhere. You know, that's the important part of ZatsuTabi is you take the train. All right, you take the Japanese rail system to middle of bumfuck nowhere, Japan, and you go and spend money there.
Well, it's
Mono's
like
about how cool like photographs are and cameras and selfies and 3D cameras and not 3D 360 cameras.
GoPros on a cat.
GoPros, yes. Put the GoPro on the cat's head.
I was pleasantly surprised by Mono because I'm not a big Yu Camp fan.
Yeah, Yoda Camp's fine.
It's fine.
It's all
I never
right. I don't
really
really get a
cared
lot
for the
out of it.
dynamic. Like, I kind of just
Yeah.
wanted more of the, what's her name? Is it Shoko? The blue girl?
Oh, the one who just kind of goes
Rin.
off on her own, doesn't really.
I wanted more
Like
of like the
talk-heady
Rin
one?
Yeah, I wanted more of like the Rin stuff. And I don't mean that as like
Yeah.
I just want to follow Rin as a character. I mean like I wanted like the just slow, laid back camping in my laid back camp.
Mhm.
I didn't really want the fucking school club where they're like doing gag comedy shit. I'm like, this is not a good
Yeah.
balance for me. I'm not really feeling this. Mono
Yeah,
does it much better because it's
I
more
would
of the
say so.
it's more of the Tamayura premise, except it is kind of more comedic, but it's like a better
Mhm.
balance and like the presentation is much more interesting to me where I'm like, oh, this works for me.
Yeah. And I mean, that's also back. I mean, like going into this, I already kind of knew, like, yeah, this is gonna look really, really good, and it does. This is one of the best looking shows of the season, honestly.
Yeah.
Really, if you like shows where the girls make cute, silly faces, welcome to Mono. Enjoy your stay. Yeah, it's just it's a nice fun time. Again, we've only seen like the first episode so far, but my main takeaways of it as it stands is yeah, mostly just visual, honestly, because it is just a really nice looking show.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see kind of because I like Tamayura and I like Windy Tales. So, like I can kind of see how the formula of this will work. It seems like it's gonna take that, but like kind of be more like into the Azumanga Daioh sort of side of the spectrum. Specifically with like the fucking girl, the mangaka in this one who basically is like she's doing the bit with Azumanga where like driving and everyone's like afraid for their lives. You can't have a slice of life without that, honestly.
Right.
But then you get like the cat mascot kind of character that's in like an aria or sketchbook or whatever the fuck.
Essential.
Get all the staples of a slice of life.
Yes.
It's balanced much better and much more interestingly than Yuru Camp was for me. Even though
so far, yeah, I guess we'll have to see how it goes.
Even though like Yuru Camp, I feel like would be much more interesting of a premise in the sense of I would be more interested in seeing like different locales and campsites and kind of that sort of thing than I am seeing them take different pictures. Though I got really, I don't know if did we talk about Tamayura at all on this podcast? I got really into like the different perspective. I think I might have mentioned it because like I got really into like it almost like the themes of it where it's like there are vignettes or like episodes or whatever where they're talking about different perspectives of the same place. So like people are like taking pictures of the same thing, but you get like their different flair or like their different perspective or like the things that they prioritize. So it's like, yeah, it's a picture of the same tree, but this tree for this person, they're focused on like the sakura petals or whatever that are in the foreground. Well, the trunk is in the background. Or this is like just a scenic shot where you can see the tree on the mountainside, like the hillside. Like there are so many different ways that you can kind of express the same thing. And it's all just dependent on different perspectives. So I got really into that kind of shit with Tamayura. I would be curious if Mono will do anything like. I don't anticipate it will. I'm not gonna like put those expectations on the show. But
you like that that Ishizoku reviewers differing perspectives kind of thing.
That's the thing I love about slice of life shows is when they do these sort of things like in the background that you can kind of contemplate while you're watching it and kind of chew on as not like a background thing, but like it just feels that kind of laid back, chill, not anything going on kind of thing. You could at least like be thinking about that, and it gives you the space to do so. That is.
I don't really do that. I just kind of like scroll through TikTok if I'm going to be honest.
Oh,
it's like playing in the background and kind of like look up from my phone and I'm like, haha, and go back to scrolling through my phone.
You must have really hated KOWLOOOOOOON generic romance then.
What was that one about? I don't remember. I think I was watching romance. I think I was like watching like a video about like the Coco gorilla thing that can like sign language. I think they're dead now.
Harambe? Yeah, they got shot.
No. KOWLOOOOOOON.
KOWLOOOOOOOON.
I don't know. Let's make this the last thing we talk about because I'm actually getting really hungry, and we're watching too many things to put into one episode, honestly, and I want to be here for 3 hours.
3 hours? We haven't even talked about Procession Orchestra or Witch Watch or Maebashi Witches.
Listen to the next episode where we'll talk about that.
Witch is dead. Why are there so many witch shows this season?
That's a great question.
KOWLOOOOOON, not a witch show.
KOWLOOOOOOON. I'm gonna say that every time you say KOWLOOOOOOON now.
What? Not a witch show?
No.
KOWLOOOOOOON?
KOWLOOOOOOOON.
Caillou?
Caillou. Crank that soldier boy. Caillou. Crank that soldier boy.
Oh my god. Yeah, KOWLOOOOOON has that element of like slice of life stuff I really like, where there's like this reverence for the setting in a sort of microcosm sense, where you're kind of like breaking down an area by its like small minutia and giving like appreciation of these very mundane sort of elements of it, right?
Because I assume that like I honestly don't know how accurate the show is to the historical place of Kowloon Walled City, Hong Kong. From what I understand, in reality, it was kind of like hell on earth. Unsurprisingly, given what Kowloon was. But it's an interesting idea for your setting for a show.
I mean, they kind of address that in the show, but like, I guess it's one of those things where people just kind of adapt to where they're at, and you can kind of grow to love or have a familiarity with anywhere, really. And that's kind of the whole thing with them, is like they're kind of talking about like, oh yeah, the mold smell, the kind of stagnation, all the kind of crevices and cracks and all these things almost make it nostalgic for them, where they kind of just feel like they belong there now because of the class system. They just belong here at this walled city.
One guy's literally there for like work, basically.
Yeah. Like I appreciate when slice of life shows kind of have this kind of reverence for the setting in that way, where it kind of almost makes you kind of appreciate it, even if you're not like actually there, or even if it's like a place that you would appreciate. Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people probably wouldn't appreciate.
Never been there.
Haven't been there. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't appreciate being stuck in Kowloon.
Probably not. I probably feel like I'd probably get robbed, honestly.
But for them, like, it's a place. That's where they live. It's the place that they belong, or whatever. They have this sense of familiarity with. So that's the kind of thing that really stands out to me. At least in the moment to moment of the show, is like that kind of romanticism of nostalgia in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like incorporating it into the kind of conflict, right? Where they're kind of establishing this sort of the two characters are at odds, where one is kind of stuck in the past and one has no past, kind of thing. The guy character seems to be very much kind of entrenched in like chasing this nostalgia for this romance that he had at one point with another character or whoever. And the girl has no past. She's focused on the present and building toward a future. So they're kind of at odds in this way while trying to kind of like coexist or commingle or whatever.
Which, that's weird, right?
What's that?
The show is called Kowloon Generic Romance. Okay. So I go into this shit. I go into this being like, all right, I really liked After the Rain, which is another manga anime adaptation from this same author. Very grounded, very nice story. Going into this being like, oh, it's a romance set in Kowloon Walled City. How quaint. That sounds like the perfect premise. And then it has Ramiel in it, just above the town, just right there.
What are you talking about?
You got like David Lynch type shit going on, sci-fi shit. What the fuck is happening?
I don't know. What is happening? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. It's not very generic, is what I'm trying to get across. It's kind of schizo.
I must have forgot all that. Sorry, I don't know.
See, I remember it. So this is I remember the official timeline, whereas Mumi remembers the unofficial timeline. Or I remember the unofficial. What year is this?
What year is this? That is cool that like they have like, because that Ramiel thing is CG and it's so out of place in this show, because this show is like basically sort of constructed to be this weird like aesthetic account shit, right? Like even the OP like has the logo look like us. Oh, it's aesthetic. And then you have Ramiel just floating in the sky as this giant fucking green diamond CGI monstrosity. It's so out of place and like the best way. It feels very like day-to-day-esque almost, where it's like you have this like fairly mundane setting and like story kinda, and then like it's like sci-fi elements are just kind of like intruding in on that. Yeah,
and it's like what is going on?
And it's all in the best way possible that you can emphasize.
Honestly, it has like it has like this mystery element to it that I'm very interested in seeing how it unfolds.
It handles
a very
it really
strange
well.
show, honestly. Yeah,
like I was really engrossed in the show, like just moment to moment. Yeah. Before the reveal of the overarching mystery for the season. Like,
and yeah,
that's like the end of episode 1, and even up to that point I'm like, ooh, this is, and then like they keep dropping like weird hints, like her eyesight just says like, oh, I can see now, and you're like, what? That's weird. Huh?
I have crow's feet.
Yeah, you're 32. She's 32. Yeah. She's old.
She's old. She is out of date. She is
32 basically means you're
expired. Dead. Basically dead.
You know, fucking Christmas cakes are 25. After 25, we're at 32. Like, what? We're in new territory. That's not even a fucking day in a month.
Of all the shows that we're watching, this one definitely feels like it's like the most unique, I'd say, because there isn't really a lot like this in anime, honestly, where it has like kind of, it's like, the closest I could maybe think of is like Odd Taxi, where it's this mix of like this kind of like very chill vibe, very just like, you know, mood type stuff. But there is this overarching mystery plot to it as well that's kind of like guiding everything. And you have like these strange elements. It's already a weird setting that is just made weirder.
I would say it kind of more reminds me of something like a Paradise Kiss or something. Where it's like you have these characters kind of drawn and getting together, and then there's like stuff kind of going on in the background where they're trying to figure out stuff about each other, but it's presented in this mysterious way, like it's a mystery. Granted, this is incorporating that into the sci-fi elements, so it is kind of heightened in that way. But it does feel very shoujo josei kind of coded in that regard.
Yeah. But it is written by a woman, so
yeah, that's the sort of thing that I would expect to be focused on in those stories more so.
Did you ever read or watch After the Rain?
No.
I feel like you would really like it because do you know what it's about?
Age gaps?
Yeah, kind of. But the way it navigates that is like very mature because it's about like getting older and moving on and trying like to figure out and sort your life out. And this not even really a relationship is like a crutch. It's very, very like nice and like nuanced in terms of how it handles its subject matter that I think you'd really appreciate. Completely unlike Kowloon generic romance, by the way. There are no like sci-fi. There's no mystery element. It's just a otherwise normal like grounded romance story.
She's also 32 as opposed to high school.
No, he's like 32.
No, I mean,
how old is he at?
The girl in Kowloon is 32, unlike the girl in After the Rain, who is a high school girl.
Like 16, she's in love with a 45-year-old manager of a restaurant.
As you do when you're 16, honestly. You know.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that's like an aspect that's like touched on in the story.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not been against like checking it out. I just haven't ever got around. I mean, I didn't watch.
Never really got around to. We don't have a lot. We're watching too many shows this season. Too many to talk about in one episode. We don't have time to go back and like watch stuff on our backlog at the moment. Help! We get like a sleeper season, please.
We kind of didn't touch. I touched on this. I didn't. There was no intention to watch. I literally was like, oh, we just drop a bunch. It's fine because like last season, I felt like we could have dropped a lot. Like by the time we finished, I was like, there was like some shows that we were watching, like the Office Romance one. We could have dropped that. I wouldn't have been heartbroken about it. There's probably gonna be shows like that this season. We'll just have to like kind of buckle down. Which there's been a couple. That fucking one we just dropped today.
The Shuzenji Sensei. Yeah,
like stuff like that is not bad. I guess we're throwing that in here.
It's like something we probably would have continued in a weaker season, but
yeah,
like let the record show that as we're watching these shows, as we're watching these first episodes, going through everything, we just keep like watching the first episode and going, God fucking damn it. Another one onto the list.
Another one.
Fuck, God damn it. Shit, this sucks. I hate good anime now, I think.